Every generation of football has a player who changes the game forever. A player who is faster than everyone else. A player who fills stadiums. A player who inspires millions of young fans to believe that anything is possible. For this generation, that player is Kylian Mbappé. Today, he is one of the biggest names in sports. He has won the biggest trophies, broken records that many thought would stand for years, and become the face of football while still being one of its youngest superstars. It almost feels like his rise was destined from the very beginning. But that is only what the world saw. Behind the goals, the celebrations, and the fame is a story filled with sacrifice, discipline, pressure, and moments that could have completely changed his future. There were times when one decision could have taken his career in a very different direction. There were moments when the expectations placed on his shoulders were greater than most players experience in an entire lifetime. Yet every challenge only pushed him closer to greatness. This is not just the story of a football player becoming famous. It is the story of how a young boy from a quiet suburb in France earned the trust of the biggest clubs in Europe, captured the attention of billions of people, and became the player everyone wanted to watch. By the end of this video, you will understand why Kylian Mbappé became football's biggest star, and why his greatest chapter may still be waiting to be written. Before we begin, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because we bring you the incredible stories behind the greatest athletes in the world. Now, let us go back to where it all began. The story begins in Bondy, a small suburb just outside Paris. It was not the kind of place where the world expected to find football's next global superstar. The streets were simple, the neighborhoods were quiet, and like many young children in France, football was a part of everyday life. Kylian Mbappé was born on December 20th, 1998, into a family where sports were more than just a hobby. His father, Wilfried Mbappé, worked as a football coach and spent countless hours helping young players improve their game. His mother, Faiza Lamari, was a professional handball player who understood the discipline and sacrifice needed to compete at the highest level. Growing up in that environment gave Kylian something many young players never had. Every day, he was surrounded by people who understood what it really took to succeed. From the moment he could walk, he always had a football close to his feet. While other children played for fun, Kylian was already trying to become better every single day. He loved watching football, copying the skills of his favorite players, and imagining himself playing in front of thousands of fans. His speed quickly caught everyone's attention, but it was not just his pace that made him different. Coaches noticed how calm he stayed with the ball, how quickly he learned, and how hungry he was to improve after every training session. As the years passed, people around Bondy started saying the same thing. This young boy was not just talented, he was special. Before long, word of his incredible ability began spreading far beyond his hometown, and some of the biggest clubs in Europe started paying attention to a player who was still just a child. That was the moment everything began to change. As Kylian Mbappé continued to improve, it became clear that Bondy was no longer big enough for his talent. Scouts from across France had started hearing the same name again and again. Coaches spoke about a young player with incredible speed, outstanding control, and a level of confidence that was rare for someone so young. Soon, Mbappé earned a place at Clairefontaine, France's most famous football academy. It was the same academy that had helped develop some of the country's greatest players. Every year, thousands of young footballers dreamed of training there, but only a small number were chosen. For Mbappé, this was a chance to prove that he belonged among the very best. Training became more difficult. Every player around him was talented, and every session pushed him to improve. Instead of feeling intimidated, Mbappé raised his level even higher. His pace, sharp finishing, and fearless style of play made him stand out from the crowd. It did not take long before some of the biggest clubs in Europe started following his progress. Real Madrid invited him to visit their training facilities. During that visit, one moment became unforgettable. Mbappé met Cristiano Ronaldo, the player he had admired for years. As a young boy, he had covered his bedroom walls with pictures of Ronaldo. Now he was standing beside his childhood hero. Many people believed that joining a giant club immediately would be the perfect next step. But Mbappé and his family saw things differently. Instead of chasing the biggest name, they focused on finding the best place for his development. They wanted a club where he would have the chance to play, learn, and grow instead of spending years on the bench. That decision led him to AS Monaco. It was a choice that surprised many people at the time. Looking back, it became one of the smartest decisions of his entire career. Nobody knew it yet, but the football world was about to witness the arrival of its next superstar. The move to Paris Saint-Germain made Kylian Mbappé one of the most expensive players in football history. Many people believed the pressure would be too much for such a young player. Every match came with higher expectations. Every performance was judged by millions of fans around the world. Then came the biggest challenge of all, the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Mbappé was only 19 years old, but he was already wearing the shirt of one of the tournament favorites. France had a talented squad filled with experienced players, yet all eyes were slowly beginning to turn toward the young forward who seemed to play without fear. As the tournament continued, Mbappé became more confident with every match. His speed left defenders struggling to keep up, and his calm finishing showed maturity far beyond his age. Then came the match that changed everything. France faced Argentina in the round of 16. On the other side stood Lionel Messi, one of the greatest players the sport had ever seen. Many expected Argentina's experience to make the difference. Instead, the world witnessed the arrival of a new superstar. Mbappé produced one of the greatest performances of the tournament. His explosive runs stretched the Argentine defense from the very first minute. He scored twice, won a crucial penalty, and became the driving force behind France's dramatic 4-3 victory. In a single night, millions of people who had only heard his name finally understood why he was considered football's brightest young talent. But Mbappé was not finished. France continued their march toward the final, growing stronger with every victory. The pressure became greater. The stakes became higher, and the entire nation believed that history was within reach. Then the final arrived. France faced Croatia with the biggest prize in football waiting for the winner. Even on the sport's greatest stage, Mbappé looked completely fearless. He attacked with confidence, created constant danger, and scored a brilliant goal to help France secure a 4-2 victory. At just 19 years old, he became only the second teenager in history to score in a FIFA World Cup final after the legendary Pelé. The final whistle marked more than just a championship. It marked the birth of football's newest global icon. From that moment on, Kylian Mbappé was no longer simply one of the most exciting young players in the world. He had become the player every club admired, every defender feared, and every young footballer dreamed of becoming. But with worldwide fame came a different kind of challenge. Winning the World Cup had made him a superstar. Now the world expected him to stay at the very top, season after season. That kind of pressure has broken many great players before. Mbappé was about to discover just how difficult it is to carry the weight of an entire generation. The years after winning the World Cup were anything but easy. Every time Kylian Mbappé stepped onto the pitch, people expected something special. Scoring goals was no longer enough. Fans wanted unforgettable moments. They wanted him to prove that his success in 2018 was only the beginning. In 2022, he had the perfect opportunity. The FIFA World Cup returned, and once again, France entered the tournament as one of the strongest teams in the world. This time, the pressure was even greater. Mbappé was no longer the young player surprising everyone. He had become the leader that millions of fans believed in. From the very first match, he looked unstoppable. His pace was as explosive as ever. His movement confused defenders, and his finishing was as clinical as it had ever been. With every game, he reminded the world why he was considered one of football's most dangerous players. As France moved closer to the final, Mbappé continued delivering when his team needed him the most. Goal after goal, he carried his country through some of the toughest moments of the tournament. Then came the final against Argentina. It quickly became one of the greatest matches in football history. For much of the game, France struggled to find their rhythm. Argentina looked ready to lift the trophy, and with only minutes remaining, it seemed that the dream was slipping away. Then, Mbappé produced one of the most unforgettable performances the sport has ever seen. In just a matter of minutes, he scored twice and brought France back into the match. When the game went into extra time, he refused to give up. After Argentina scored again, Mbappé answered once more from the penalty spot, completing a remarkable hat-trick on football's biggest stage. Very few players have ever scored 3 goals in a FIFA World Cup final. Even fewer have done it with the weight of an entire nation resting on their shoulders. Although France fell short in the penalty shootout, Mbappé walked away with the tournament's golden boot after finishing as the top scorer. For years, there was one story that refused to disappear. No matter how many goals Kylian Mbappé scored or how many trophies he won, people kept talking about one destination: Real Madrid. The connection between Mbappé and the Spanish Giants had existed since he was a teenager. He had visited the club as a young player, met his childhood hero Cristiano Ronaldo, and dreamed of wearing the famous white shirt one day. As the years passed, transfer rumors became a regular part of every season. Fans waited for announcements. Headlines filled newspapers. Every transfer window brought fresh speculation, but the move never happened. Until finally, the moment football had been waiting for became reality. In the summer of 2024, Kylian Mbappé officially joined Real Madrid, beginning a brand new chapter in his career. It was more than just a transfer. It was the beginning of a new challenge. At Real Madrid, winning is never enough. Every player is expected to make history. Every season brings the pressure to lift the biggest trophies, dominate Europe, and continue the club's incredible legacy. For Mbappé, this was the stage he had been preparing for since he was a young boy in Bondy. Now, he had the opportunity to write his name alongside some of the greatest players the sport has ever seen. His journey from a small suburb in France had brought him to the biggest club in world football. From a young boy playing football in the streets of Bondy to becoming one of the biggest stars the sport has ever seen, Kylian Mbappé's journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. His story was never just about speed, talent, or breaking records. It was about believing in a dream, making the right decisions when they mattered most, and having the courage to keep moving forward even when the pressure became greater than ever. That is what turned a talented young player into a global icon. And while he has already achieved more than most footballers could ever imagine, his story is far from finished. Every new season brings another opportunity to create history, inspire millions, and build an even greater legacy. One thing is certain: the football world will be watching every step of his journey. If you enjoyed this documentary, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more incredible stories about the world's greatest athletes. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.